Hare Krishna, Namaste, Chapter 18, Sloka 66, Part 69. Sarva-dharmān parityajya, ekaṁ śaraṇaṁ vraja, ahaṁ sarva-pāpebhyo, mokṣayiṣyāmi śucaḥ. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. In the Sutram 194 of Sri Vachana Bhushanam, Pillai Lokacharya says, Bhagavata apacharandhan aneka vidam. Mistakes, offenses committed towards Bhagavatas, the devotees of the Lord, are of many types. First we will list out those offenses and then go through each one of them. Janma nirupanam, Sharira nirupanam, Bhava nirupanam, Ashrama nirupanam, Avayava nirupanam, Alasya nirupanam, Vasa nirupanam, Bandhu nirupanam, Prakasha nirupanam, Vartana nirupanam, Prakara nirupanam, Dosha nirupanam, Jnana nirupanam, Vritta nirupanam. As the Sutram says, Aneka vidam, meaning there are many types of them. There could be more than what we just listed. But at least let's understand these 14 offenses that we just listed. Janma nirupanam. Nirupanam means not to prove, which is commonly known as such. But in this context, nirupanam is to judge. Janma nirupanam. To judge a person based on his birth. Is this devotee belong to a high class family or low born? If we have to judge a person based on his janma, birth, then where can we list Dharmavyuda, Guha, Shabari, Yadavas, Nambadavan, etc.? They are all completely surrendered great souls. If we have to reject them based on their birth, then that's an offense. That is what Janma Nirupanam means, to commit an offense based on one birth. Sharira Nirupanam, the differentiation and discrimination like men, women, animal, bird, etc. A Vaishnava, not necessary he has to be in a human form. It can be in any form, or that which is in any form can also be a Vaishnava, a devotee. Examples: Garuda, Anantasesha, Hanuman, Jatayu, Sugriva, Prahalada, Vibhishana, Mahabali, Draupadi. Therefore, doesn't really matter. It can be a male, it can be a female, it can be in between, it can be an animal, bird, asura, rakshasa. Therefore, it is an offense to judge a person based on shariram, the body, that this cannot be a devotee because it is a bird, it is a monkey, it is an elephant, etc. Number 3, Bhava Nirupanam. Judging based on a child, a youth, or an old person. Not giving much importance to them. Behaving very carelessly towards such devotees is also an offense. Dhruva, Prahlad, Sanakadi, they are all young, but they are all great devotees. One has to be very respectful, irrespective of what their age is. As soon as one enters into the temple, we have to respect everyone. Number 4, Ashrama Nirupanam. Giving more importance to sannyasi, but not to the grahasthas. One should know Vaishnava is beyond ashram. Therefore, one should not start judging and giving importance to Vaishnavas based on their ashram. Sometimes brahmachari feels in a higher position than the grahasthas, thinking the grahasthas are into sense gratification, whereas they are better off, they are greater than the grahasthas. In other hands, the grahasthas feels brahmacharis are braveless people. They don't want to face the challenges of the material energy like them. Sannyasi thinks he is superior than anyone else, as he gets a lot of respects by all other three ashrams. This is all ashrama nirupanam, judging others based on the ashram or thinking oneself in a better position than the other ashrams. This is very beautifully said by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Nāhaṁ vipraha, na ca narapatir, nāpi vaishyah, na shūdraha, nāhaṁ varnichana grahapatir, na vanasta yatirva, kintu prodyan nikila paramananda, purnamritabdhir, gopi bharatur, padakamalayur, dasa dasanu dasaha. I am not a brahmana, I am not a kshatriya, I am not a vaishya or a shudra, nor am I a brahmachari, a householder, a vanaprastha or a sannyasi. I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar, and he is the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He is always existing with brilliance. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is not different from Krishna himself, says this, then what should be our mood? We all belong to only one group, that is Gopi Bharatur Padakamalayur Dasa Dasanu Dasaha, servant of servant of servant of the Supreme Lord. Number 5, Avayava Nirupanam, judging or treating Vaishnavas, devotees, based on their physical appearance. One must not judge a Vaishnava based on their physical ability. A Vaishnava can be physically challenged person. Due to some physical reason, he may walk differently, he may talk differently, he may not be able to function properly like normal people, but he has bhakti. That is all is really needed. If someone try to ill-treat those who are physically having challenges and they are nice Vaishnavas, then it is Avayava Nirupanam, judging someone based on those inabilities is another type of offense one may commit. Number 6, Alasya Nirupanam. The Lord devotees are of different types. There are rich and there are poor and there are middle class. One cannot treat each one differently based on what they give. It is the Lord who has to decide how he wants to reciprocate to those devotees. If a poor man comes and gives just one flower, whereas a rich man comes and delivers a truckload of flowers, it may be on the material standard great to our eyes, but when it comes to the Lord, for him whether it is thousands of roses or just one flower, when it's given based on individual capacity with love and devotion, that one flower is equal to thousands of roses. Likewise, when a rich man gives with love and devotion thousands of roses, the Lord accepts it as well. But when we start treating the people based on what they give, then it is an offense. At the same time, those who are capable of giving more must also give more, not to hold back and behave miserly. That will be an offense on their side. So even if it is a poor man who is a devotee, we should understand that he is also part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna likes him. Krishna is residing in his heart and he is residing in Krishna's heart. So who are we in between to offend such a devotee? Number 7, Bandhu Nirupanam. Judging a Vaishnava based on his relatives and friends. He is brother of so and so, therefore he must be bad. He is son of so and so, therefore he must be bad. When Vibhishana came to the seashore to surrender to Lord Rama, the monkeys all said that he is brother of Ravana, therefore he should not be accepted. He must also be evil. So this is Bandhu Nirupanam, judging a Vaishnava based on his relatives and friends. This also applies in a different way. If we start treating someone nicely because that devotee is related to me in some way or the other, he is my brother's son, or she is my sister, or this boy is my son's friend, therefore a special treatment are given to such related ones, whereas the rest who I don't feel related to me are treated less. This is a serious offense. In the house of the Lord, we are all one. Well, one doesn't mean that we are all one Atma. What it means is there's no difference. We are all children of the Lord. In that way, we are all one. Therefore, one should be very careful to not commit mistake of Bandhu Nirupanam. Number 8, Prakasha Nirupanam. Thinking someone to be great if they are directly connected to a great Acharya, or if someone has a blood relationship with a great Acharya, whereas the others who doesn't have direct connection or relationship with such Acharyas, or doesn't fall into any sort of blood relationship, to be considered as lower compared to the others is another offense. Sometimes if someone is a direct disciple of a particular Acharya, they feel very proud, and if they start thinking or treating others who are not direct disciple of their Acharya, then that is an offense. Or treating such direct disciple of an Acharya and ignoring the others is also said to be an offense. That falls under Prakasha Nirupanam. The importance is not given to the jnana and bhakti, but it is given to one's position, whether they are direct disciple of an Acharya or a second, third, fourth generation. Let's be clear on this topic, on this point. It is not that one should not respect the senior Vaishnavas, but at the same time one should not disrespect the juniors. There are certain culture, there are certain tradition that has been followed in each sampradaya that must be followed. But simply basing a judgment only on seniority is not good. Even a person who is not senior by number of years of Krishna consciousness can also be a great Vaishnava. Therefore, one must be very careful not to offend based on seniors and juniors concept. Number 9, Vartana Nirupanam. One cannot judge someone based on their profession. Some Vaishnavas may be engaged in certain business which may not necessarily seen as a high profession in others' eyes. It could be a laundry business or selling fruits, any of such things. But one cannot judge a Vaishnava based on his job, his profession. First of all, a Vaishnava will not pick a job which falls under any sinful activities. Meat eating, gambling, intoxication, or any illicit things. They avoid such activities or business or work, at least directly. But if a Vaishnava engage in some menial business or a job, one should not judge that person based on that job, as long as it is part of dharma, as long as his earnings are legal. If one judges, then that falls under Vartana Nirupanam. Number 9. Prakara Nirupanam. Any service that is done to the Lord is considered to be great. A king does a service to the temple by building the compound or expanding the temple, whereas a simple man who rings the bell at the temple at a particular time intervals as his assigned service. A person may give great lectures, or a person who may not know how to speak but mop the floor of the temple. Just because this person doesn't give lectures and only mops the floor, cleans the toilet of the temple, should not be treated in any way lower than the person who gives lecture. This is Prakara Nirupanam. Number 11. Jnana Nirupanam. Judging by one's knowledge. He has studied entire Shastras. He is so very well versed in everything. He can quote tens and hundreds of slokas. He can debate with anyone. Therefore, he is great. Whereas this person doesn't have the same skill as the other person. He is not very knowledgeable. He doesn't know many slokas. It is very easy to defeat him. If someone starts judging a Vaishnava like this, then that falls under Jnana Nirupanam. Number 12. Vritta Nirupanam. Judging a person based on his practices. He doesn't do this, he doesn't follow that. Look at me, I'm perfect. I do everything as per the books. Therefore, this person cannot be called as a Vaishnava. Well, that is also an offense to think like that. One may ask a question, well, hold on. A Vaishnava must at least practice certain things. If we don't even have to consider those things, then how can that person be called as a Vaishnava? And what is wrong in we thinking that person is not a Vaishnava? Well, that is not our job to decide who is Vaishnava and who is not Vaishnava. We have not been given the responsibility to identify who is who. That is not our job. If we can help that person, we will do it. Else, we just keep quiet. Not go around and start speaking about that person is not doing this, is not practicing, is not coming to the temple. Who knows what that devotee is practicing at his home? We don't know. Therefore, we cannot judge anyone just by seeing some symptoms. Let him be taken care by Krishna alone and the responsible person, that person's guru. But if someone has a responsibility, someone is in a service position to correct situation, to address certain things, then that person needs to do it. Otherwise, that in charge, that person who is in a responsible position will get sins for not correcting or taking right actions. Number 13. Dosha Nirupanam. Looking out for mistakes in other devotees. Launching murder case against devotees. To blame the devotee as thieves, that they stole something, or false claim saying that they were engaged in some illicit relationship. For no reason, when a person commits such offenses to Vaishnava, then it is said Dosha Nirupanam. We are devotees. We should never forget that. At the same time, we should also remind ourselves that we are in this material world, not in Vaikuntha. Therefore, there are always chances to trick our mind to bring our way out, to show how others are of fault and how I am great, to prove that one may go to an extreme of simply making false statements against Vaishnavas. One may try to create false evidence, make forgeries, gather supporters to support them to prove this false case against a pure nice devotee. So one must be very careful to not be with such people, or for ourselves not to get into such offenses. Lastly, number 14, Vasa Nirupanam, judging a devotee based on their residence. If a person does not live in holy dham, say Vrindavan, Mayapur, Ayodhya, Srirangam, Kanchi, Tirumala, Puri Jagannath, Mathura, then they are not serious devotees. They are in Maya. Only those who live in these holy dhams are considered to be surrendered souls. The rest are not. This is also another serious offense, to judge a person based on where they live. Of course, the holy dham has its potency. Rupa Goswami, in fact, in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he mentions very clearly there are 5 potent forms of devotional service, namely residing in holy dhams like Mathura, worshipping the deity of the Lord, reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, serving a devotee, and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we can see, out of 5, residing in holy dham is very potent form of devotional service. But if one does not reside in holy dham, that doesn't define that person to be a non-Vaishnava. That doesn't mean that Vaishnava is lower than one who resides in Mathura. We will be seeing a beautiful story in this regards later as we go further into this topic. So what we covered in this session are 14 types of Bhagavata Apachara. There could be more, but the Acharyas have listed out these 14 for us to first be aware and try to avoid. And most of this will cover the major part of offenses that we generally tends to commit. To list them again one more time: Janma Nirupanam, judging based on one's birth; Sharira Nirupanam, judging based on one's body, male, female, animal, bird, etc. Number 3, Bhava Nirupanam, judging based on one's age, whether it's a child or a youth, a middle-aged or an old man. Number 4, Ashrama Nirupanam, judging based on one's ashrama. Number 5, Avayava Nirupanam, judging based on one's physical ability. Does this Vaishnava has good hands and legs and eyes and ears? If not, then he may not be a Vaishnava. One may even go to extreme of thinking that this Vaishnava is physically challenged because he must have committed some sin in his previous life. This way of thinking about a Vaishnava is very, very dangerous offense. Once a person becomes a Vaishnava, we should never even think of his past life, however he was. Number 6, Alasya Nirupanam, judging the devotees based on their devotion, based on what they give to the Lord. Number 7, Bandhu Nirupanam, judging a devotee based on his or her friends and relatives. Number 8, Prakasa Nirupanam, thinking or judging a Vaishnava based on if he is a direct disciple of an Acharya, if he is directly related to an Acharya. Number 9. Vartana Nirupanam. Judging a Vaishnava based on his job, profession. Number 10. Prakara Nirupanam. Judging a Vaishnava based on the service that he is engaged. Number 11. Jnana Nirupanam. Judging a devotee based on his knowledge. Number 12. Vriddha Nirupanam. Judging a person based on his conduct, his anushtanam, practices. Number 13. Dosha Nirupanam. Trying to accuse a devotee by making false statements, false blames on a devotee. And lastly, number 14. Vasa Nirupanam. Judging a devotee based on his residence. The great acharyas have taken time to write these things down for people like us. So we better be careful to avoid these offenses. This shows their compassion upon us. They want to make sure that we are successful in our life to reach back to Krishna. For that, we have to lead a life which is offenseless. Unless and until they list these things out and show us, we will not know what we are doing is right or wrong, because we are so much engrossed in our way of life. Out of all this that we just discussed, the serious one which takes importance is Janma Nirupanam. We cannot judge a Vaishnava based on his birth. Even a Chandala by birth can be a Vaishnava. The other way is also true. Even a Brahmana can become a Chandala. So in our next session, we'll focus more on Janma Nirupanam. Thank you. Hare Krishna.